Misc up in Tri-State. Nick Riddle as well here in Florida. And then you even got like some of the really young Brawl players like MK Leo. MK Leo was a Brawl player a long time ago, but without further ado, it's time to see how this Brawl vet holds up in the modern meta versus Mega Man.
And starting out in Town and City, coming and swinging, by the way, wasting no time. And that's what you want to do, though. You want to make sure there's no gap of comfort for Peabnut to be able to keep zoning you out with those lemons, like you were saying. Right.
It's definitely going to be a game of zone breaking. And I think the one win condition for DKWill in this is, well, two win conditions. Is one, killing him at super low percents with spikes, and two, being able to just rush down and smother Mega Man. Because Mega Man doesn't actually have all that many fast moves. Most of them actually do have quite a bit of startup outside of like the jab. So most of those are going to take a little bit to get going. So if he doesn't give Peabnut the space to get started, Peabnut might find himself in trouble.
Yeah, especially the pressure that we could see Peabnut putting on, whether it be with the blade into back air. A lot of option coverage here, forcing DKWill to try to go in for a high recovery, but he still manages to get back to the stage, center stage here. But the Leaf Shield with the follow-up, big body like DK is going to be prone to taking those, but it doesn't even matter when you're getting tough in the face. He stared him and said, "What you gonna do about it, last? What you gonna do?" And he almost went in for a shield break attempt there too, right from the heavy platform. Oh, he actually gets it! He actually got it!
What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do?
Oh, take me away.
DKWill, like, we asked the question, how is this Brawl vet going to hold up? Answer, very well.
He's been doing it since Brawl. That's what I mean. Like, he's been able to overcome these rather difficult matchups otherwise, but you can see right here, he is unfazed. He gets hit by that fair, but look at the percent that he died, 170% after hit. Meanwhile, DK still gets these raw hits and still tacks on so much damage.
Right, 84% extra credit, especially like you mentioned with the raw kill power that DK has at his disposal. He's at kill percent. He's going to die if he gets hit by one committal option, and now we do see that DKWill has the 10-wine giant punch on the board. That super armor, it served him well already because he can just completely ignore a lot of Mega Man's moves by throwing it out, and it'll kill. It will, right now.
Let's see if he gets the opportunity right now. Peabnut keeping him in those up air strings. See the attempt to try to get back onto the platform, but actually just fast fell right past it. Gets the follow-up with the Z-drop on the blade. Can he do it again? You can see him trying to hug the ledge, but I love that recovery from Peabnut, actually mixing it up. You see him DIing right below the ledge before actually utilizing that up B.
Yeah, really, really well played by DKWill, but even better played by Peabnut to be able to avoid that. You're not going to be able to avoid down B up air. That is just, you're dead. Even on Town and City, and I actually think that Town and City might have been like a sneaky pick by DKWill, that like maybe catching Peabnut a little bit unaware of some of DK's biggest strength, because Peabnut's been trying to kill off the top, both with up air and up tilt. Town and City, high ceiling, not going to work like that, but DK doesn't have any of those problems.
Yeah, you see the B reverse too to actually shift some of that momentum.
Talk about armor. It's not going to serve him well, but...
Good attempt, though, nonetheless. You see Peabnut now changing this up, changing the course. DKWill fighting to get off of the ledge. Of course, with that armor, he's absolutely going to be able to do that with the up B. Now the follow-up into the back air. But it's been going back and forth, regardless of how that started. Peabnut being able to reverse this.
Ooh, there's the double bear. Has Peabnut stuck off stage. DKWill looking for that one committal option to be able to close this out. He's been making really good use of spinning Kong so far and the armor that comes with it when it's done on stage. I don't doubt that we're probably going to see another spinning Kong before this game is over.
And to see how he's going to be able to get out of this up air attempt again. He went in for a B reverse, and he does it right there again. It's just to be able to shift some of that aerial momentum. Tries to get in the follow, but he does. Chases him in the air with it, too. The up air. Talk about Town and City beforehand, Les, and how you're more prone to getting hit with those blast zones being closer, but DKWill recognizing that and also utilize those platforms to get in a mix-up when he had to land. Because it'd be difficult. You saw those up air strings coming in from Peabnut actually made it hard for DKWill to try to find a proper landing where he was forced to utilize the B reverse to kind of shift away that momentum.
I think the biggest thing about this, though, is it showed the sheer difference between the two characters, where Peabnut was getting juggled, and it was like the end of the world for him, because he was probably going to die off of it, right? But DKWill gets juggled, and he's just wait until I get down there. just wait until I get out of this up air, and you're going to regret it, because that's really what it felt like. It felt like as soon as DKWill got the opportunity to touch down on the stage, he was going for the kill. He was going for the throat.
And someone's got to call my dad back here because I'm in danger. Every time I see DKWill try to come back there from the up air attempts. And it's just like you were saying. It's because DKWill unfronted here. He could just come back. And as DK you put in a lot of that pressure, not only between the up B armor that he used to try to get out of ledge situations, but also it's a way to create some respect here that Peabnut now recognizes, all right, I wasn't even able to zone out DKWill with the lemons like we were talking about from the very start. And that stage heavily favored that for DKWill too.
Yeah, I think there's no universe in which we go to Town and City again, right? Like, there's no way after how that progressed that Peabnut lets him go anywhere near that stage again. And as expected, we're heading to Kalos, a lot more space to work with. Well, about the same amount of space as on Town, but the critical thing is that the platforms are very beneficial to Mega Man, especially in ledge trap situations. It makes it much harder for DK to get back onto the stage past him, and I think Peabnut is looking to take huge advantage of that.
And a little tricky, too, with the Z drop on the blade, and sometimes by the edge of that platform will fall here, but already evening this out with 3 hits. DKWill coming in with the dash attack. Managed to scoop up Peabnut, but look how deep he's forced to go down. But Peabnut constantly is able to reverse the situation, get back towards the stage. He did this in game number 1, too.
One thing about Brawl Vets is that they all have fantastic item control, and we're seeing that with how DKWill has been able to just take away Metal Blade from Peabnut very consistently. Like, I think Metal Blade's done more harm to Peab than it has done good.
It's been a double-edged sword, quite literally, but in favor more so for DKWill.
90-edged saw.
Oh, and you can see he was trying to find an opportunity to go in for a back air here, but like you're saying, on this stage particular, DKWill has to be careful. Only has those 2 platforms off to the side to really work with.
He's looking for the back air on the neutral get up, but Peabnut not going to give it to him very smartly. But now the Metal Blade is once again in the hands of DKWill, so he's going to make use of it to cover. But Peabnut, actually being aware of that, hops right over it, throws out the bear, and takes the first stock. And then immediately loses the stock right back thanks to down B up tilt.
Gotta love it here. Especially since it's so big, too. You try to jump, it's going to just keep grounded in that situation. Peabnut now just trying to find the grab, keeping DKWill at bay with that fair, trying to play the keep away game. But you see right now, DKWill constantly forcing himself into Peabnut's space.
Yeah, I love how DKWill's been using down B throughout this. He's using it as a spacing tool on the ground, and also as a kill option in the air for that, like, that wave bounce into the spike that he keeps doing. It's so good, and Peabnut hasn't really found a way to deal with it. 120, though, should be able to find this KO soon. No, actually misses the fair.
And it was so tricky, too, because in that moment, you also want to space yourself where you're not going to be the one getting sent over to the other side of where DKWill is recovering. You want to be off the stage, but safely with that back air, he's going to be able to close out that stock, now maintain the lead, and play the edge of the stage so well, too, because as a mix-up, you can see him now taking advantage of the ledge since they're vertical and the platform on top of that.
Right, he's got that platform I mentioned. I think it was during the Wario Peach set. He's using that platform as like an umbrella where you can't land on me through this because I have disjointed options that will punish you every single time. But DKWill does manage to make use of that spinning Kong rising up.
Oh, wow.
This time he's popped back by Crash Bomb, though, and this is a bad spot to be in.
I love the Crash Bomb attempt, though. That was an insurance policy for Peabnut. He did that on purpose so that way DKWill couldn't punish him, but DKWill is still keeping Peabnut off the stage.
Crash Bomb detonating, not going to catch him as he gets ledge invincibility, and now Peabnut looking for a way to close this out. Going to go for the back throw here to send DKWill deep off stage. He's just one bear away from death. This is so scary, even for Donkey Kong, because once he takes the stock, he's got to deal with another one right after.
You see Peabnut slowing things down too, just waiting for the opportunity to strike here. These raw hits, not doing it. We were highlighting before. This is DK we're talking about, but
Whoa.
He jumps out of the... Oh, that was the first time he did it too in that moment. It was to avoid the back air, but you can't avoid it forever, especially when you have an entirely new stock to try to burn through from Peabnut. And Peabnut now coming through from that.
Right, and I love how, like you mentioned, Peabnut started to slow it down at the very end there because he had all the time in the world. There were like 4 minutes on the clock. He had an extra stock to play with should DKWill have managed to get in and take that stock away. And literally all he had to do was continuously throw out hits like he was doing. Like, he kept trying to use the Metal Blade to confirm into bear. He eventually used the up air to confirm into bear. And he could have just rinsed and repeated that over and over until eventually one of those stray hits found its mark and one of those stray hits took the stock. And that's just how you play with a lead, especially against a player like DKWill, because if you get antsy, if you get overeager, and you try and close it out before it's allotted time, you're going to get blown up for it.
Yeah, I'm wondering which stage was banned here from Peabnut, because that stage in particular really helped benefit Peabnut. You could see the way that he was so comfortable playing by the ledge. He was able to use that wall bounce too, so that way he could be able to mix up his own recovery, whether he wanted to go for the platform, make DKWill think whether does he need to cover the top of the platform or is he going to get back towards the ledge. And I really like that look.
So Yoshi's and Town are banned. I guarantee it. You do not want to fight DK on Yoshi's. You do not want to fight DK on Town. So we're going to small battlefield. A good counter pick by DKWill because the platform layout is very beneficial for Ding Dong. If you can get the cargo throw jump onto the platform into the up throw up air, it's so strong. It'll kill it like around 90, maybe even 80%, depending on, I'm not exactly certain how the percents are on Mega Man. But that was interesting.
I love that, actually. The mix-up, too, he jumped right. He literally got the mix-up, got the shield blade, rather, with a Z-drop. But just like that, DKWill negated all that damage. With triple up airs and still going, Peabnut has been taken all the way to the other side of the stage at 94%. And you can see that with this shorter stage, you can see how comfortable DKWill is playing because now he doesn't have to worry about bridging the gap because the stage essentially does it for him here.
Right, he doesn't have to worry about breaking Peabnut's zone so consistently because more often than not, Peabnut's forced to break his own zoning because there's nowhere else to run. So if he wants to go somewhere to set it up, he actually just puts himself in disadvantage because DKWill can take advantage of Donkey Kong's actually pretty high movement speed and just dash in, get a hit.
Trying to do that right here. The B reverse, though. Peabnut was ready. Gets that grab, now sending DKWill off the stage, but goes right below the ledge. The back air, actually, to try to help him get back safely after that attempt. But he's at 162%. You can sneeze on him and he'll go away. Like that.
That's a little bit more than a sneeze.
Yeah, no. That's a straight up wipe clean. Side B into the up air like you were talking about before. Confirmation like he's been getting consistently.
Yeah, now 20%. Like, this is just the absurd damage output that DK has. You can't roll in on him with that down B being so active. Crash Bomb is going to give Peabnut the opportunity to find a punish, but this is DKWill's game through and through. He's in complete control of the momentum, at least right now, but that story might be changing soon, especially with the ledge trump bear.
Really good awareness and good timing here from Peabnut, capitalizing off of that. Still keeping DKWill off by the ledge, though, because DKWill actually just, from the Heaven platform, put himself in this position. Does manage to fight his way back towards center stage, but again, it's just managing to force Peabnut out of that comfort zone. Peabnut, though, is covering so much in general between the top of the platform and below it, too, that it's difficult for DKWill to find that opportunity, but it doesn't matter because these raw hits are enough for DKWill to keep up that pressure.
Right, and that's the big difference between these two characters. Donkey Kong can entirely subsist on these stray hits, these raw hits, doesn't even need the combos necessarily to find stocks and find percent. Meanwhile, Peabnut has to go for these setups, has to go for these, like, okay, he almost died there. That was an up air.
You even saw the attempt on the back air, too. Maybe trying to question where he was going to roll in that moment, expecting him to maybe roll off to the left of that platform rather than stay there by the right, but Peabnut still living 143%. Talk about rage here. Peabnut trying to work off of it, but dead. Yeah, no, never mind. He's going to disappear off of that. DKWill taking him to the horizon.
DKWill has Giant Punch on the board. And I'd like you to keep that in mind, because I foresee a Giant Punch in Peabnut's future once he hits about 60%.
Seen it already coming out.
Oh, wait, never mind. There it is.
He's trying to tank that through the attack, maybe expecting Peabnut to go in for the follow-up off of that, too. But either way, there would have been raw hits, but raw hit nonetheless. A lot of damage on board since Peabnut only at 11% for that last stock.
Yeah, that Giant Punch, it would have done, like, I think 30%. So, like, certainly nothing to sneeze at, but DKWill getting caught going a little bit too far above the platform too many times in a row. The F smash is going to be able to take out the stock, and now we've got an almost perfectly even game. Peabnut manages to take away the lead. This could be his opportunity to steal this game away on DKWill's counter pick.
Sitting on the edge of my seat there, I saw the attempt on the grab. You saw him whip it right in front of DKWill. Very close here. Crash Bomber actually doing so much, but the high recovery here from DKWill. The follow-up on the blade is going to allow Peabnut to get that grab, but nearly dodging that down air. This is a situation where you want to dodge Peabnut by the ledge because you know that down air is going to come out. But the time on the recovery, Peabnut comes out on top here, but that was so close. If DKWill was not forced to play that by the ledge here, even though he was trying to go in for the high recovery, he still was getting stuffed out by the back air.
Yeah, I mean, that just felt like the final nail in sorry, that just felt like the final nail in the coffin there when Peabnut managed to get DKWill both at the ledge